Hey there, I want to show you a few ways you can build up strength for plank pose. Really, you need to be able to do a strong, comfortable plank pose before you start progressing into chaturanga, like low push-up, things like that. So here are some ways to do it without overloading your wrists right from the beginning. Start at the beginning and progress as you're able to with strength, good form, and comfortably. Here we go. I'm going to use a block here. Start off on your back and stretch your hands up toward the ceiling. Very much like plank, you can draw your fingertips back, and then you can fold them forward, warm up your wrists. You can also fan your hands around like this. Just give yourself a little mobility, a little warm up to your wrists and hands. And then work to draw your palms toward the ceiling, just like plank. This is already going to start building strength in your wrists. And we're going to alternate pressing one hand toward the ceiling, slowly drawing it back down, and then the other. The goal here is to keep your elbows straight and make smooth movement going up and back down. And you can practice that one for a little while. You can do both simultaneously. And rest. I actually like to sit on my hands with my palms down and do a little rocks. It's like a wrist massage. And as we build up strength in our shoulders and our arms and our wrists, we also want to build up strength in our core. So you can take a block, whoops, don't throw it like that. You can take a block between your knees and you want to squeeze your knees together, and your arms could just be by your sides to focus, but you might take them up and press like you would in plank, right? Like you're pressing your hands into the ground. And then the idea here is to keep a nice, stable front body. So you don't want to be letting your back arch and then come back to neutral. So you have to engage here enough to hold, and then you can start to come up to your toes. Squeeze your block. And release your heels back down. So this might be what you practice. You might start to squeeze your block and then see how light you can get on your toes without your back arching, still being able to breathe and hold. So you just do a little, maybe shake a little bit, it's great. And let that back down. You can also do lift and lowers if you can do it without arching your back. If this happens, then don't lift. And once you've got that, you might change to here. And you can, again, you go just as far as you're able to. Straight legs. Well, if you can't straighten your legs, then they don't have to be straight. But as you reach out, you push your legs towards straight. You know? That's okay too. Or straight and lower. But keep your back really neutral. And then the next piece would be block between your inner ankles. And you work there. So those are all ways to build up strength and build the muscles that you need, as well as the awareness that you need for plank without putting weight into your wrists. Then we're going to start to build up our body's tolerance to weight bearing through the wrists, so we can come to hands and knees. I say take your wrists slightly forward of your shoulders, where if I drew a line from my shoulder down, it would line up behind my wrist here. So it gives you a little more space. So you can start right here, and then the idea here is that you find that neutral. So you're not doing cow, you're not doing cat, you're neutral. And everything you do, you want to be neutral in the spine. So if you can't stay neutral, then you've got to back off it a little bit. Same goes for elbows. You want your elbows straight. If your elbows can't be straight, you've got to back off. If you're leaning one side or the other, you got to back off because it's too much. Once you find this neutral, then we'll do shoulder blade push-ups. So you'll keep your elbows straight and you'll start to sink your chest, your shoulders come close together, and then you press away. Notice I'm not doing cow, cat, it's just shoulder blades. So you're already practicing keeping that neutral. Practice keeping straight elbows. Practice moving slowly and smoothly. And at any point when you need to stop and take a break for your wrists, do so. So find that straight position and then hold it, tent one set of fingers, and then do the same thing on the other side. Check in with your breath, check in with your neutral spine. And once the tenting feels good and you're staying nice and even, you can make it full lifts. You might just hold. Try to maintain that neutral, no leaning, no elbow bending, no trying not to get any cat or cow. And then it would be legs, so you can do toe tap. Trying to keep nice centered weight. Toe tap. Pressing the knees straight in your back leg. Keeping everything else neutral, including your spine. Notice if when you draw in, you want to round. Don't let that happen. Make your hip move. Then you can also add a lift. Noticing if you get archy. Noticing if you lean really far to one side. Try to avoid that. And switch. And I don't care if your toes point in the back or if they pull toward the ground. Those two things do different things. If you point your toes, that helps to activate like the hamstring and the glute and the muscles in your spine. If you bring your toes down toward the ground, that's going to help you activate your quad and keep your knees straight, and a little bit and help you activate the front of your legs. You can really do either. You just have to know that whichever way you point your foot, you have to give a little attention to whatever's on the other side. Like if I point my toes, then I have to work a little extra hard to firm up my thigh. And if I pull my toes in, I have to work a little harder to squeeze my butt hamstring region. And then you could add arm and leg. And I say do holds here. Check in with your breath. Work with these holds, because that's what you're trying to build up. Some endurance, some awareness. Good, so those will be the next ones. Once you've gotten through all of that and you're staying really stable and you've built up some strength, and we can start to add. So what you might do here is keep everything really neutral. It starts to get hard to stay neutral here, but keep everything really neutral. And then go for a little knee hover. So knee hover like that is going to be the first thing to try. The other thing that you might do is if you're trying to build up like the core strength and that spinal stability, but you're like, my wrists are getting so tired, you could try taking blocks like this. Sometimes I find that when I take blocks and I hold them this way, That takes a little strain off my wrist, so then you might be able to do a little more without feeling like your wrists are just way too tired. And so you would hover here, although I think the hover is harder with the blocks, if I'm going to be honest. So you can do that. Same with the blocks. You could do toe tap. And then from toe tap, you would just go toe tap. Keep everything neutral, just like you did on that all fours leg switching thing. Plank. And then that knee goes down and up. This could be on or off blocks. Still work to keep the neutral spine, the centeredness in your torso. Yeah? Then you can do toe tap, knee bend, and then hover. So you're just trying to hover this bottom leg. And again, that could be with or without the blocks. And then you would stretch back, hover, stretch back, hover. Same thing on the other side. Hover. At that point, planks are going to feel like, oh yeah, no problem. So when you do plank, you engage all of that same stability action here. And then as you want to start to progress and just build even more strength and capacity through your planks, then you start to add other things in. Like for instance, you could add finger tents, trying to keep as much neutrality as you can in your legs, or hand lift. See, I'm still working on mine. Alternating leg lifts. Or arm and leg lifts. And you'd work on holding those things as well. Make sure you can breathe through all of that. If you want to take some of this strength more mobile, then you give yourself a little room and you get a blanket or anything, a towel, anything that's going to help you slide. And the idea would be to start to slide out. Now, as you slide out, there's going to come a point at which you have to say, could I slide back or am I stuck? You want to be able to slide back. I would even say, okay, can I get to the edge of my mat now? Can I get to the edge of wherever I am? Let me think I can go further. Yeah, so that I'm on the edge and then I can really pull tight. And then I start to go out. And then I say, oh, I don't know. Slide it back in. And so you're just working on some of that front body strength and also some awareness. So you can do that. You can also try to stretch all the way out and without letting any cow back, like without letting any arch come in, you keep going. Stretch, 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 stretch. And come all the way down. The trick here is getting back up. So the first way that you practice getting back up is by drawing this in and squeezing your shoulder blades up. And then you're going to press up with as much strength in your front body as you can and draw that in. You can also try to bring it straight back up from out there. I haven't done that in a while. Yours might be better. So those are some ways you can build strong planks. And that's important because all of that plank action you want to maintain if you're going to start to go into a low push-up or a chaturanga position. If you build strong planks, you're more likely to be able to do chaturanga safely and with strength. After you've worked a whole bunch of that though, you want to make sure that you Give your wrists and the fronts of your shoulders and your chest a little chance to stretch out and feel better. So a couple of really nice things to do. You can obviously do some little like wrist circles, and I would stretch my elbows straight to do that and open across the chest. And then I actually like to make fists and press my fists together gently behind my back. So it looks like that. And I'm actively pressing them together, but just with like 20% effort, kind of gentle. And then you can do little, I call them little rainbows. So you do a little chin up, and then you rainbow your chin down toward the collarbone on one side, and then rainbow toward the other side. Gently release, stretch up. Interlace, reach your palms forward, reach your upper back backwards. And then see if you can flip that the other way. That could be awkward. And I really pull through my thumbs, spread my thumbs wide. You could reach the whole thing up. Release that. And take one hand down, so you just flip. Your palm is up and your fingertips are facing in. You sit on it. And then I lean away. Release. Same thing on the other side. Palm in, palm up, lean away. Release. Then you can flip the other way. So now you would spin so that your palm is down, but your fingertips are still facing in. Sit on it, lean away. Release and do the second side. Inhale, stretch your arms up. And draw it in. Thanks for joining me.